Hey everybody, welcome to Stoned React. So glad you're here joining me today. So we're going to dive into this video that she made yesterday calling Trying to Get Weight Loss Surgery in Canada. And you know, as many of you know already, I've had weight loss surgery back in December 2019. So of course this topic is something I know a great deal about. I've been through it and I have a lot to say about it. So let's get into it. Whoops.
Hi guys, before I start today's video, I wanted to show you what I had for lunch out yesterday. So I went to a restaurant and they give you this soup for free with your meal. It comes with it. Whatever you order, homemade chicken noodle with crackers, so comforting. And these chicken strips and fries and coleslaw, all homemade with honey garlic and a side of gravy. Oh my gosh, you guys, they were so juicy and big and delicious.
All right, so this is what we're looking at. This is what she got as a meal. Coleslaw, french fries, breaded chicken, I don't know if it's tenders or cutlets, but breaded chicken with two different sauces. She got a bowl of chicken noodle soup. I'm imagining she's probably like in a diner situation. I know she showed the name of the place, but I'm not familiar. This is not a good meal for someone who is looking to lose weight. I'm not trying to knock her on every solitary thing she eats. However, the fact that she doesn't make an effort with her meals to select things that are better to eat is troublesome. Because if she thinks she's going to walk into weight loss surgery and be able to eat like this, she's not going to be able to. They're not going to accept this as a healthy meal. What she should have done is gotten grilled chicken breast and instead of the french fries, substitute it for a house salad. Maybe put a little bit of fresh lemon on it, or even if you want to put a dressing, maybe use a very little bit of dressing. The coleslaw, I could give or take that one. Again, I think it does have sugar in coleslaw. I'm not sure. I've never made it. But if you are going for weight loss surgery or any type of I need to lose weight, this is definitely not the meal that you would want to select.
Delicious. Yum, bismillah.
Well, hello guys, welcome back to another video in my car in the middle of nowhere. So as you know, I've come to Canada in hopes of starting a weight loss surgery process. I would like...
Now, of course, we all remember how Chantal downed the Canada government and the U.S. government, frankly, the West in general, when it comes to the countries, their health care, stuff like that. I live in the U.S. I have no complaints. I work hard. I have excellent insurance. I've never had an issue with my medical coverage. I don't know how it is in Canada, though I have a lot of family there. I know there's a lot of waiting on specialists and doctors. There's a lot of waiting from what I understand. She is very frustrated in this video about not being able to be taken seriously when it comes to the urgency. Well, the urgency is in her mind, right? It's not necessarily like a general urgency like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a heart attack. I need help right now. This is like a urgency of me. I need this to happen fast. Chantal doesn't realize, I mean, even if she says it out loud that this could take a year, could take 2 years, whatever, I don't think she realizes that, like, where her sense of urgency is doesn't mean that the medical practitioners have that same sense of urgency with her. They probably have greater issues that demand more urgency than what she is dealing with. She's just very impatient.
to start by getting more information. But I want to share, like, I'm not going to say which clinic, weight loss or bariatric clinic I go with or whatever, but I'm going to share the process with you from beginning to finish because it's, you know, a lot of people have had it, and I like the idea of sharing experiences, you know, with others. And that's the whole reason I would share a lot of struggles I've had in the past with certain things I've gone through.
Her face, I don't know if it's the angle or what it is, but her face from the eyes down looks so enormous. I mean, her whole face looks really large, but it looks unusually puffy. And look, it could be like she's using different filters. I don't know. It's so hard with her because so many of her videos and pictures are so heavily filtered. We really don't get to see the actual Chantal. I mean, well, you can clearly see in this picture she's heavily, heavily filtered. But the shape of her face, I guess she didn't use the narrowing portion of the filter, but her face looks really big. I don't know if you guys see that as well.
through medical or whatever. So for those of you who don't know, weight loss surgery, I think gastric sleeve and Roux-en-Y gastric bypass are covered by universal healthcare here. I'm in Ontario, Canada. Now the downfall with our healthcare system, you know, it is universal, and I mean the surgery is covered by that. So I mean, the only thing is that there's a wait time. You know, right now some hospital ERs have like a 20-hour. I think that's like.
So, Chantal, you're not in an ER situation. You're not in that type of urgency. So, I don't know why you're comparing your particular situation and your need to seek a doctor compared to the ER wait time. Actually, to see a specialist or a doctor is far greater wait time than the ER. I don't even know why she's using that as a comparison. The ER is not a comparison to just going to a doctor's appointment. So, anyway, but let's all remember this is the woman who just not too long ago was just negatively talking about the healthcare in Canada, the country itself. Yet when it's convenient for her, she goes back to that country to seek the free medical care that she has an entitlement to. She doesn't realize that there are people who pay taxes, heavy, heavy tax. You know, Canada's much more heavily taxed. They pay heavy, heavy taxes for people to be covered with this medical insurance. And here you are, Chantal, living in another country in Kuwait for a period of time. You spent that time bashing Canada, and here you are back in Canada utilizing your entitlement services because apparently you're a taxpayer, yet you bash the government. Like, I don't understand it. You should be grateful. You should put your hands together and thank God that you have this health care, because I'm certain that if she was in Kuwait, number one, she would not even be seen because she is a liability to that government. They would tell her you need to go back to Canada and seek that care, which I have a feeling that's probably the conversation that happened, right? Let's look at it this way. She went on a trip to renew her visa, which we knew she had some issues with, though she didn't really talk about. But they stayed there a long period of time. She comes back, she sees the doctor, and suddenly she's in this health catastrophe situation. She has to address things immediately. And suddenly, after her sheer hatred for the Canadians and the Canadian government, she decides to return back to utilize their health care. So, you know, I feel like I have to remind people of this because we can't forget it. You know, you should be grateful. Gratitude goes a long way. She is not grateful for anything. She thinks she's entitled. This entitlement mentality is dangerous. She's not entitled to this. Okay? You have to work hard, you pay your taxes into the system, and that's why you get to use these benefits. Living in Kuwait for a year, bashing the Canadian government and Canadian people and the Canadian healthcare doesn't make you entitled. I mean, like, you know, I don't know if she's paying her taxes or not. Do we even have confirmation of that? I mean, she could say she's paying her tax. I don't know. I don't know. But I don't like the entitlement attitude she has.
Unprecedented. Like, it's never been that high. But the weight loss surgery, I think it's could be about a good year and a half, maybe 2 years. It just depends, because each step you have some testing you have to do. And I don't know. I might be able to skip the sleep study one because
I don't know how Canada is, but she will not be able to skip the sleep study in the US, because even if you have sleep apnea, they need you, and this is just from my experience, you actually need to check in with a sleep apnea doctor who's, you know, either connected to the clinic or is willing to work with the clinic to the monthly monitoring. Like, the whole program is a collaborative type thing. And I think that she thinks she can like bypass things. You can't. She has sleep apnea. That is something they're going to pay very close attention with because that's one of the things that can be cured by losing weight. Some people are thin and have sleep apnea. It's not always the case. However, in my case, my sleep apnea completely went away when I lost weight. But when I was going through the process, like I had to go check in with the sleep monitor doctor. I think it was like, I don't know, once every 2 months. I forget the frequency that I went. But uh, it's a collaborative situation. All these doctors work together, the psychologists, the specialists, and you're typically going to doctors that are connected to that clinic that is doing the surgery because they all kind of collaborate together. I, again, don't know how it is in Canada, but I would imagine it's a similar model.
I have sleep apnea, and I've been having it treated with the CPAP. By the way, that CPAP should have its own passport because at this point, why am I spitting? This point, it's been to more countries than most of my haters. Anyway, so I just wanted to share a little bit of experience today I've had with that. The first step, of course, is and one of the criteria, I should say, that you need to meet in order to get weight loss surgery is you need to be referred, right, by a physician, your family physician specifically. They request who will be following you throughout this journey. You need a physician to monitor things, whatever.
So I don't know if it's like, I imagine it's not like this for everybody, even in the US, but with my medical insurance, I actually did not have to get a referral from my family doctor. I simply had to go to the weight loss, mine was at a hospital. The clinic was in a major hospital. But you just had to go make an appointment and then they would qualify you to go through the process. That was the doctor who was um, in charge of your entire process. So it wasn't like your family doctor or a doctor that had to refer you to the clinic. The doctor was there and they would qualify you there at the clinic.
For medical stuff. But
I mean, we do have referrals here. I know like HMOs do it, and I've had HMOs. My last insurance was a referral base, and I hated it. It's very annoying.
But I don't have one. Mine that I had moved to another country. I don't even know where. So, since then I haven't had one. And the wait list for some places is 2 to 3 years. It's anyone from Canada will know, at least in Ontario, you will know how hard it is to get a family physician. Sorry, my phone stand from.
That's pretty bad. If you're seeking a family physician, it could take 2 years that they have that type of waiting list. I would imagine if you had a current medical issue that needed to be addressed immediately, I imagine that they have slots. I mean, that's how it is here. Like, doctors will keep certain slots open for situations like that. Like, for example, if you're sick and you need to see the doctor. So, yeah, I don't know.
My car broke. So that is a big struggle with Canadian healthcare.
We also had to factor in that she was living abroad for a little over a year, so she doesn't have any established medical care in Canada for that duration of time. So there's that disconnect. Like, she has to reestablish these relationships with these physicians. I mean, she has multiple issues. God, I don't even know how she does it. Like, how she moves to a foreign country, manages her multiple issues, comes back to Canada, and has to reestablish all these medical relationships. I mean, she has her estrogen issues, she has her lung issues. Oh my God, it's so overwhelming to think about all the doctors she has to reestablish relationships with.
So what I need to do is first get referred. So I'm going to clinics middle of the day. Probably not a smart idea, as I found out today. Different clinics, usually full, too long of a wait. Like, just, I don't even know if they can refer me. So I left some voicemails with some bariatric place. I don't know.
Here, at least here, I don't know, maybe Canada's different, but if you are seeking a referral from your family doctor, you have to have an established relationship with that doctor. So I don't know why she's calling random doctors to say, oh, I need a referral. Maybe that's a thing in Canada. But I would think that you would need to actually make an appointment, go through all your health history, establish a relationship, have him or her as your family doctor, and then through that relationship, that referral will come about. Because I don't think doctors just like write out a referral for any random person that walks off the street.
I'm just making calls here right now. So I called a place and asked some questions, and they're going to get back to me. I need to know certain things. There's also the last clinic I just went to had a sign on the door, "We're full for today." So basically I need to go very early. That's why you see people lining up at the door of clinics in the morning. That's probably the smart thing to do. And that's something I need to do as well. But I'm going to keep.
So I wonder if somebody can educate me on a Canadian system. When she's saying she's waiting in a line at a clinic, is she talking about like a urgent care type of a clinic where you see a doctor for a specific thing, like you have a cold, or is she talking about, when she says clinic, is she talking about a actual medical practice where people continuously go to the same clinic for their management of their health? I guess I'm not understanding when she's saying waiting in line in a clinic. When I say waiting in a line for a clinic, I think urgent care. That's what I think. 'Cause here, that's probably the only place you're going to find yourself waiting for something. Um, and if it was like an urgent care, you wouldn't. There's no way you would get a referral for a weight loss surgery. No way that would happen here in the U.S. You would have to get it from your own family physician. But again, this is Canada. What do I know?
Keep trying tomorrow. Well, tomorrow I think is weekend. So maybe Monday I will stand in line very quickly. Now the holidays are coming, so I don't know how far I'll get, but I'm going to try my best here. Also, I will be going live. Do not worry. I just don't know exactly when, but it will be soon. You know, I'm not going to not go live ever again. So, anyway, so I guess I'm just going to have to wait to get referred. I'll share updates with you guys when I have more information, like, you know, what's going to happen. I hope that a clinic doctor can refer me, because at this point, I don't know how people are getting referrals unless you have a family doctor. It's like pulling teeth here where I'm from. Like, it's so hard to...
Excuse me. Well, you're going to need to get a family doctor. That's it.
To get a family doctor. It's ridiculous. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's frustrating. It's going to be tough, but hey, at least I don't have to pay thousands of dollars, I guess, to get it done. So, now I know that people are like, some people are just like saying that I made derogatory comments before about the surgery.
Yes, you did. Remember Cuba? What did you call us? Lazy and all this stuff, but you can't seem to accomplish it even on your own. So why you have such negative things to say to all of us who have had the surgery? And some of us who have been successful with the surgery even years after, because we stay committed, because we know that the surgery we had was such a huge deal that we never want to return to that place again. So we're going to do everything possible to eat right, exercise, and try to stay as healthy as possible so that we don't revert back to those bad behaviors.
So some things that people are saying I said, I need proof of that, because I don't remember I remember maybe having an opinion about it and saying, you know, I don't remember saying people are weak if they can't do it, because I feel like I'm weak. I don't feel like I'm strong. You know, I don't feel like...
Of course, she fits the narrative that works for her. Now she's, you know, weak like all the people she bashed in the previous videos about having surgery. And now she's, you know, one of us now.
Like, I can do it on my own. And at the time, maybe I thought that I don't know. If I said that, that was very arrogant. But I think it was a projection on my part, because I felt like if I had to resort to weight loss surgery, that I was weak. And you know what? I think that in some areas people are weak and some people are strong in different areas of their life. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing. Everybody has weaknesses and strengths, right? So my weakness is that I cannot control myself around food. I have not been able to successfully so far. I think we should use that language. I have not been able to, instead of I can't. I have not been able to so far control my addiction to food and my binge eating disorder. And I just think that, you know, people feel bad on themselves about that if they don't.
The reason why you haven't been successful in overcoming your binge eating or whatever other disorders that you have is because when you set up a time to work with a therapist, you don't stick with it. You go maybe one, maybe two appointments, and then you revert back to your bad behaviors. What makes change happen is you staying consistent in trying to do those positive things to change your life. You don't stay consistent, and that's a huge problem. And if you're going to dive into weight loss surgery, you're going to have to be more committed, more consistent, and you're going to have to deprive yourself of things that you once enjoyed. You have to change your palate. You have to change your relationship with food. You were never willing to do that. And until you're willing to do that, nothing's going to change.
Have willpower. I think that it has nothing to do with willpower in a way. Like, it's a disease. It's a psychological. It's so hard, you know. It's so hard. People don't understand maybe until they've had it. And if you've been able to beat it, sure, but you must know how hard it is for people. You know,
we can understand how hard it is. However, those of us who chose to change took the steps to go in a different direction. We took the steps to change. We implemented different things in our lives that would send us into a better direction than the direction that we were on. We stayed committed. We stayed consistent in those things, such as seeking therapy. A lot of Chantal's issues are mental. The way she relates to food, it's all mental. She needs to address that mental health side. And I've always said that the mental health side is going to be very important for her because she obviously has a lot of issues.
It's not just down to just stop eating, because I mean, people have obviously tried that many times.
It's not a matter of stop eating. It's a matter of stop eating the wrong things.
It's really almost impossible to fight those impulses that come along. So it's not just a hunger pang. It's, you know, it's so much deeper than that. So if I spoke in any derogatory way towards it, to those people who've had it, I didn't mean it in anything personal. I think it was to do with me, that I felt weak, that I, you know, if I ever had to get weight loss surgery, you know, I feel like defeated because I have to resort to that.
It's interesting because and I don't know how it is for other people, when I decided to go through the process of weight loss surgery, which I went through it 2 times. The one time I backed out kind of halfway through, and then the second time I went through the entire process.
Thing is I still feel that way a little bit.
I wanted to say about feeling defeated. When I was going through the process, I actually didn't feel defeated at all. If anything, I felt empowered, because I realized that I can change this. And with the help of weight loss surgery, I can make these things happen. And by having weight loss surgery, that was my true big commitment on change, because I knew forever it would be changed for me. And I was ready for that commitment when I signed up to have weight loss surgery. You have to get to that place. You shouldn't feel defeated. You're not defeated. If anything, you're empowered. Thankfully that we have these medical interventions where we can opt to address our issues, whether it's the mental, whether it's the surgery, whatever it is. We're able to address those issues. So you need to get to a place where you're ready to take that deep commitment. You shouldn't feel defeated. It's not about being defeated. I don't know why she keeps saying that.
I still feel that way a bit. About myself, not about other people who have it done, about me, for some reason, you know. And I don't know if that makes sense, probably not, but I'm trying to explain it. I wish I didn't have to have it, you know. I don't even know if I do have to, but I'm at this point, I just want to try to use it as a tool to...
Look, you're at a point where you need some serious intervention. You're saying you don't even know if you're at the point of needing surgery. If you don't know you're at the point of needing surgery, you're not even halfway there yet in processing this whole thing. You need to become real with yourself and be like, I can no longer do this, and I'm not achieving it on my own, and I need help. Surgery is help, it's not a cure. You can revert to bad habits and get fat again. So it's not like it's just going to solve all your problems. You have to address the underlying issues for that surgery to be successful.
Help me, and also along that with the mental health help. I'm this week coming, I have a lot of dealing with my mental health. That will be the next step. I itemized what I need to do here, and it's so much. I look at my list and I think, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to do all of this to take care of myself, and be an adult and take care of all of these things alone. I'm not alone. I have my husband, even though he's not here, we still are in contact literally all day until bedtime. And then he's a big support a lot. And then I have my family and some friends and, but I still, when you're dealing with, and I mean, they're really helpful, in a lot of ways. And I'm going to be getting help, especially mental health help. I'm going to try to utilize whatever resources I have. And, I don't know, wish me luck. And I wish you guys luck too if you're going through any of these kind of things. But I just, do you guys like, this is why I can't have hoodies. I just always, so yeah, anyway, I'll be excited when I have a referral in. Then I don't mind waiting. Honestly, the hardest part is getting a referral, I find. But I haven't made it far. I'm sure the surgery is tough too, but I hope.
Chantal, you just got to Canada. You have an unrealistic expectation. This isn't going to happen that fast. You need to slow down, get your ducks in a row, and go head on this whole thing. It's going to take time. You have to have patience. My process took about a year. I'd imagine for people who have much more complicated health issues and are much heavier than I was when I had surgery, it might be a much more lengthier process. And I can understand why. Weight loss surgery is a very serious surgery. It's a major surgery. It should not be taken lightly. And I think once you realize that it's something that should not be taken lightly, and that you could literally die having this surgery, you're going to realize the amount of commitment level it's going to take for you to be successful. Because it's not something you take lightly. I've never had major surgery. This was like the first major surgery I ever had. I took it extremely seriously. I had to be fully committed into this because it's life changing. You never look at food the same way again. You never look at your life the same way again. But you have to be ready for that. It's not going to take months. It could take a year. It could take 2 years. Who knows? But it's all going to depend on you. It depends on nothing else but you and your commitment level and your consistency and your want to change.
That I can do it in a timely manner, like maybe a year, not more than a year and a half. We'll see. I'll try to go to all the appointments and just like do what I gotta do.
That's
fast,
what you gotta do.
Timely. Anyway, so that's my struggle right now. I'll just keep you updated on all the health things, because I have my papers here. My purse. I brought my papers with me. Brought my papers along from Kuwait with my diagnosis. It says diagnosis, diabetes, because my A1C was, what was it, 11? I think, or 10, or I think it was 10. Or maybe 11, I don't know.
If she thinks for 1 second that bringing the papers from Kuwait is going to speed research surgery, she's very delusional and is misinformed. I would imagine, and I'm just saying because of my own experience, even if I had certain tests done, I had to kind of go through the whole clinic process. So you can't like bypass things. I mean, it's good to have those records to show, what the outcomes were when you were in Kuwait on your blood work results and such. But they're going to redo all that blood work and stuff. They're going to recheck everything, kind of recalibrate where you're at, to see what needs to be done to get you through the process and ready for surgery. So, yeah, that's great. You brought the papers home, but just so you know, it's not going to bypass you from having to go through any of the processes when it comes to weight loss surgery.
Um, I forget. It's on the paper. So that I can have my diabetes controlled here as well, So I'm going to have them review the medication because I think I have more access to better diabetes medication here, If you guys...
I don't know why she didn't stick with Ozempic and do the right thing. I think she could have seen some success from that. I did Ozempic as well. You can be very successful with it, in particular if you have type 2 diabetes. It's very helpful. Definitely got my A1C right in check, perfect number. I didn't have any issues with it. But, hopefully maybe she'll go back.
Guys are on anything that you would suggest, something that's not, going to hurt my tummy, like the metformin and Genumet, something maybe, I don't know. I forget some of the names people were leaving in my comments. There's an Ozempic shortage. I was on that before. There's people suing the company right now for getting gastroparesis, and I'm not going to lie, it kind of freaks me out.
But it doesn't freak her out when she stuffs her face with a box full of, sweets, or eats fried chicken, or has loads of candy, or those things don't freak her out. But being Ozempic and dealing with the side effects freaks her out. Like, sometimes you got to weigh the options, right? And the other thing with Ozempic too is you got to find your sweet spot. Not everybody does well on the really high doses. Like, I know I capped out at 1 milligrams. That's where I had the really bad symptoms. But when I brought it down to 0.75 dose or 0.50, it was perfect for me. I was consistently losing weight. My blood sugar was staying in check. I was seeing the successes I needed to see, though it wasn't super fast. That was okay. I wasn't looking for speed. I was looking for consistency in it working. So, she's got to stop thinking that there's some like miracle thing out there. You just have to be consistent and stick with it, whatever it is that your doctor puts you on. And look, we can suggest all kinds of different medications for you, but in the end, it's going to be what your doctor recommends, because your doctor knows you intimately. He sees all your blood work, he sees your actual weight, he actually sees what's going on. Unlike us, we're just basically speculating a lot of the time because we don't have all the information. So you're going to need to listen to your doctor. Sure, we can suggest things, but that doesn't mean it's right for you.
So I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you take. But yeah, there's a shortage of Ozempic right now, so that too is kind of... So yes, I will get back to live streaming. Don't worry.
Oh, I cannot wait until the live stream. She's going to rage at some point, right? Because she can't help herself when she's on live.
We'll most definitely do that. But I just trying to settle in and get things taken care of. I'm so busy. And I just need some time to myself without filming everything. I'm just like happy to just be not filming as much or going live right now. I just need a bit of a break. It's nothing to do with you guys. I love you guys. I appreciate all your support in the comments. And
look, Chantal, all we want you to do is focus on yourself. We know you're not going to stay off YouTube because that's just not your style. But if you need to take time off to get your stuff done, to get things in order, we completely understand that. You don't need to make a big hoo-ha about it. I mean, we understand there's a lot that needs to be done. However, we know you're going to be back on soon. You can't stand to be away from all of us.
Sometimes Salah goes live on his gaming channel. It's in the link if you want to hang out with us sometimes. Al Sultan Salah, he does gaming. Like, he's playing Resident Evil 4 Remake right now. It's really intense. But it's just like a handful of us, like a nice intimate chat, maybe 50, 60 people sometimes. And it's fun. We just have fun. I try not to get triggered by trolls. But a lot of good people in there. And so if you want to hang out with us, that's fun as well. So yeah, I'm just parked in the middle of nowhere. I did miss the Canadian wilderness, I used to think the dead trees were depressing, but I just appreciate.
I can totally understand what she's saying here, because for 3 years I lived in Arizona and I'm from the East Coast. And I absolutely loved it when I first moved there. Like, the first year I was like, oh, this is so awesome. But it was weird as time went on. I really started to miss the seasons changing. And I'm sure like everybody's different. Some people I don't miss it at all, but I really miss seeing green. I miss seeing snow and rain, and like you just you do miss those things. I'm sure it's not for everybody, but in my case, it was. I did start missing those things, so you do appreciate it when you come back.
Hi, Fly. The difference of atmosphere, I tried the Tim Hortons Bailey's line. I had an ice cap. I haven't had an ice cap since 10th grade. And I know I shouldn't be drinking that stuff. I shouldn't be eating what I'm eating. But for some reason, I just can't. Part of one of the big reasons for coming here, obviously, is the getting to eat comfort foods again that I've missed. You saw my grocery haul. I got everything junk. And, no, nobody forced me to do it. Nobody had a pew-pew to my head and was like, get this stovetop, get this Chef Boyardee's. But, oh man, I want to eat it, I guess, is what it comes down to. I want to have, like, another last hurrah, like I never learned, for all of the comfort foods.
Look, forget the last hurrah. I can tell you when I got close to having my surgery, I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have like my last meal. But I didn't do that because I thought like I'm still going to be able to eat the things I want, but I'm just going to eat less of it. And it didn't make it feel so final. Like, sorry. It didn't make me feel like if I have this surgery, I am no longer going to be able to have any of these foods ever again. That's not the case. I can still have candy. I can still have really any food I want. But the thing is that you have to keep it in moderation. You have to really like when you're going to eat something, eat with purpose. Do I need to have this? Have a conversation with yourself. Do I need to have this food? If you want it, have it, but have a little bit, just a little bit. Or maybe find something that's a close substitute that's on the more healthier side. The whole final meal thing, I get it. A lot of people do it. I didn't do it because in my mindset I was like, I'm not going to be denying myself anything. If anything, I'm going to be changing my relationship with food. If I want it, I'm going to have it, but I'm going to have very little of it. And that's how I've been able to like maintain all this time, is because I don't have this attitude like, oh, I can't have this, like I'm punishing myself. It's not a good mindset for me personally. So I get to enjoy anything that I want, but I think about it. I make sure that there's a good reason behind me wanting to eat it, and if I really want to eat it, I'll eat it. But I just don't eat as much. Like I won't sit there and eat an entire bag of potato chips. Like I'll get a little bag of potato chips once in a while because I just crave it. I'm not a big potato chip person, but sometimes. And what I'll do is I might eat, small bag. I might eat a quarter of it in the afternoon. I might eat another quarter of it around dinner time. Maybe I'll eat some more the next day. Like that little bag can go an amount of time instead of it being like I'm eating the entire bag at one time. So you have to like change that relationship with food. The food's there, you can have it, but do you really want it? That's the question.
Ever had. So I'm thinking of eating all of these things and doing a story time with each item and why it's a comfort food for me. It might be like therapeutic to me. Why is it a comfort food? Why is ravioli from Chef Boyardee a comfort food?
Well, I think sometimes they're connected to our childhood. Sometimes they're connected to certain memories. Like maybe you remember sitting around with your grandmother and eating a certain particular food, and that brings fond memories of the times you spent with your grandmother. Like everybody has these different connections to food. Like for me, for my childhood was candy and ice cream. My mom would reward me for good behavior, and she would express her love in that way. She would get me an ice cream cone, or she would get me a little bag of candy. So those connections connect me to love. Well, I had to break that cycle because that isn't a reason to eat those types of foods.
And I got to think of, there's got to be a story time to each situation. There just has to. So maybe we'll go for a ride somewhere down the long road and bring a bowl of ravioli and do a story time. No, probably not the long road. I don't know. I'm sick of that road. It's not the same. I don't want those memories, a lot of them, So, anyway, when I do get my own place, like I said, we're going to have a party. We're going to party, bees.
I can't wait.
All right, well, I've yapped enough. Here's my sermon for today. And, but yeah, that's my situation so far with the weight loss surgery. So I'll keep you guys updated, like I said, because there's people going through it, and there's people who have gone through it. And I love sharing. I like that we can all share experiences, because we all go through it differently. All right.
Okay, guys, so this is the end of the video. Let me know what you think. I'm sure you guys already saw this video and probably watched a ton of commentary on it. But I felt like I wanted to do a reaction to this just because, I've been through the weight loss surgery thing. And, hopefully can extend some decent advice to her and put her more in a position of reality when it comes to this surgery, because it's not going to be a quick fix. It's not going to happen quickly. So hopefully she stays in the reality mood. I'm hopeful that she is successful. I mean, I don't think any of us want her to fail. But that's it. Let me know your thoughts below. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.